The rain fell in steady sheets across the empty prairie, soaking through the thin cotton of Eliza's dress as she stood outside. The small wooden cabin she once dreamed would be filled with warmth, laughter, and family. Her hands trembled, though not from the cold, but from the hollow ache of waiting for someone who had promised to be her forever but had instead ridden away months ago, leaving nothing behind but the faint echo of his boots and the bitter taste of betrayal. Each day she told herself he would return, that the thunder in the distance might be the sound of his horse's hooves, but each time it was only the storm mocking her hope. She pressed her arms across her chest, the sky splitting open with lightning, and wondered how long a woman could wait before her heart broke completely. Yet just as despair sank its claws deep, the faint rhythm of hooves broke through the storm. Not the man she had once called husband, but a stranger. He rode tall and steady on a black stallion, a figure cut sharp against the storm, his hat pulled low, his coat slick with rain, but his eyes, when he stopped before her, burned with a kind of fire she had never seen. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said, his voice carrying through the storm like solid ground beneath her feet. She wanted to turn away, to tell him she was waiting for someone else, but her throat caught, the words choking on the truth she had carried for too long. "He left," she whispered, her voice raw, swallowed by the storm, yet sharp enough to pierce the stranger's heart. The cowboy dismounted, his boots sinking into the mud, and he looked at her not with pity, but with a steady kind of strength. "Then he was a fool," he said simply, his tone leaving no space for doubt. Eliza's chest rose and fell with a shudder, the storm raging above them as if nature itself bore witness to the moment. "You don't know me," she said, though her voice faltered with weakness, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "Maybe not yet," he replied, his hand gently brushing the rain from her cheek, his touch rough yet tender, a man's hand used to hardship, but unwilling to let her stand alone in the storm. "But I know what it means not to walk away when someone needs you." Something in those words settled deep inside her, deeper than the hollow left by the man who had abandoned her. She searched his face, saw not the empty promises of a man who wanted freedom more than love, but the quiet strength of one who chose to stay. The rain pelted down harder, the ground pooling with water around their feet. Yet for the first time in months she did not feel cold. His presence was a fire in the storm, his gaze a shelter she had never thought to find. Lightning cracked across the sky, thunder roared, but between them there was only the stillness of a promise unspoken, yet undeniable. She thought of all the nights she had prayed for someone to return, never realizing that sometimes prayers are answered not by what you want, but by what you truly need. "You should come inside," she said softly, her voice carrying both invitation and the trembling edge of fear of trusting again, of opening her heart. But when he smiled, it was not the smile of a man who would vanish with the dawn. It was the steady, quiet assurance of someone who would weather every storm, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And as he followed her into the cabin, as the storm raged on outside, Eliza felt something stir deep within her chest, something stronger than loss, brighter than sorrow, the fragile beginning of a love born not of promises, but of presence. The rain would come again, the storms would never cease in a world as wild as theirs, but she no longer feared the waiting, because this time she knew he would not leave. And friends, if this story touched your heart, if you felt the power of loyalty and love that stays when everything else falls away, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more stories that inspire, heal, and remind us that no storm lasts forever, but true love does.